the Soul Star Live after show.
Cool. Bet there it is. Hey, welcome. This is the Soul Star Live Culture Spot after the show that you didn't just seen. It's Kai just stepping on the background. Got Fresh Maker in the building. Yours truly is here. And basically, we can use this time to talk about what we didn't get a chance to talk about on the air. So, what did we not get to talk about on the air that you would like to have talked about on the air today?
I mean, there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I mean, this is the platform.
I mean, we can get into
let's chop it up.
We can get into Gail Whoopi Mark Lamont Gate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we could. We started there. It seems to be something that everybody's talking about recently. What are your thoughts on and film it, like, for those who didn't see it and for those who don't know everything, myself included. Fill them in on what happened. I know that there was an interview with Lisa Leslie and with Gail, and from what I heard, Gail brought up Kobe's past.
Yeah, she brought up the sexual misconduct allegations and really leaned into trying to get Lisa Leslie to talk about it in a general derogatory sense. Gail says, it's possibly taken out of context, but math is math. You can see what the conversation is. And what I think is it's on time, it's perfect, and it's a tremendous booster for us as a community, because quite often as a community, we are this big, powerful mover of things, and those things can just be a bunch of whatevers, and we can be this big, powerful beast that's split into so many different beings. But that moment right there kind of messing with the legend of the deceased allowed us to let our powers combine.
Yeah.
Which is something that we hadn't seen in our community in a long time, because we were so busy doing, some of us something, some of us not so much, and some of us just surviving.
Right.
And that right there brought us to the point to where it was like, hey, we allow so much mistreatment because we understand what is going to be said about us when we react. Because when we react, it's not like anybody else, because there's a lot of trauma and just power behind it. So everybody can play the intimidation card. It makes us look like a monster, and we go back into the basement, so to speak. And this gave multiple generations the opportunity to say, we don't care if you were going to label us whatever. You've done it for long enough, even all the way back to Willie Horton.
Right.
We don't care anymore, because we know that not only are we not that way, we are the least not that way. We are the least likely to strike other groups of people, because we understand how the story can be mutated against us. So we decided all at once that, this is enough.
I think part of what it is from the information that I've gathered, and also what I know about the situation. For me, it's twofold. First and most directly, Gail was just defending Charlie Rose adamantly 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Amongst multiple sexual allegations. And while these are going on, and while these stories are coming out from these women, she is adamantly defending her friend. And she made it a point to let people know that it was her friend. So that's point one. Point two, Black men just got allowed to have feelings and emotions publicly like 3 or 4 years ago, if then. So having, and I heard someone say that when black men die twice.
Definitely.
And,
And
Yeah.
it don't stop after the second death.
oh no.
If they need to come back and have an anniversary,
Mhm.
or if somebody wants to celebrate you, you must always be reminded in the midst of the celebration.
Mhm.
Hey,
I took it a step further. There's the timing with which you have something, because you always have to ask, when somebody says something, why do they say it and when do they say it? What narrative are they pushing? Especially if they're a reporter, anyone in the media. Everyone who has a platform has something that they're pushing.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, what are they pushing?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you ask why, you found the time to be silent about this man for a decade and a half after the fact,
Mm-hmm.
while he was alive. And not even the body isn't even cold.
Nope.
And some you have people who are calling it idol worshiping and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if there's ever been anybody that impacted their lives. And you don't necessarily have to be related to somebody to have the person impact your life.
Mm-hmm.
And none of us are perfect at all. And I think it's very important that I stop right now and say that anytime that any person, man or woman, especially woman, makes an allegation that someone has violated them, it needs to be taken seriously. This one was, and the case was dismissed.
And
for me, it's that simple. And some people will say, well, yeah, cases have been dismissed and there have been victims. Yes, I understand that. Speaking as one myself, I get it. But the thing is, you have to look at the totality of everything as far as what's happening. And as Dave Chappelle said, you got to remember who I am. I am a black man in America.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anybody who doesn't believe or trust anything, it's us.
Yes,
because we've been brutalized as much as anyone, and it's not a paying competition.
and this is a tactic that we are used to. This is a historic tactic. So for us to say, hey, we're going to be questionable about people coming out and saying black men have done these things to them, we have to understand that race riots, murders, and all kinds of things have been started because of a similar accusation that in many cases with all of those deaths were proven to be untrue or just made up in order to take out a group of people that have become powerful enough to threaten the status quo.
Right. And the thing that confuses me most out of everything is, if you want to talk about someone's life in their totality, and again, none of us are perfect. I don't say that as an aside or as an excuse. The fact that the man was married and cheated on his wife is not something that I approve of at all. And everyone's talking about the allegations and everything. That's something that can't be proven. What can be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt is this man cheated on his wife. But here's the thing. Just because that happened does not mean that I have to castrate this man for his entire life and in his death. And it doesn't mean that we ignore the impact that he's had on literally billions of individuals. It doesn't mean that we excuse people if they do great things and ignore the horrible things that they've done. But timing matters. And you always know who's the first to talk bad about you when you die. The folks that have been waiting to do it the entire time, who were cowards and wouldn't do it to your face. And I think that's where a lot of people lose respect. You literally have people who are still grieving, who's still trying to get through their tears. This man's wife and his family and his daughters are still struggling over the loss of their husband and their daughter, not to mention the other families. But because this interview was specifically on Kobe, we're going to focus on them. All this is going on. And you, fresh out of defending somebody when you had no evidence of nothing, you're going to try to accuse this man and just castrate him in death.
Yeah, and it's the Kobe part, I would say, is really actually a culmination, and even if she were just not even talking about misconduct, even if she were just talking about infidelity, at the same time, it's a perfect time to say to Gail, and I think Lisa did an amazing job, but it also would be a time to say, well, that's none of my business either. That what somebody does behind closed doors is none of my business
at all.
So, but this, like I said, was a culmination. We, either parts of us have lived through Emmett Till or been told the story of Emmett Till, where these things that are perfectly justified, whistling at somebody, even though
Had it happened.
Exactly, and which their relatives work in government now, and some of them are on their deathbed, still allowed to live full lives. But you just basically see now Black people saying, okay, I heard my granddad talk about something like this. I heard my dad and my mom talk about something like this. Or one of my relatives, their lives were ruined due to something like this. We just got off of a gentleman in Kansas kissing a young lady that was too young to get into a bar. They went back to the apartment and they didn't have enough time to get into anything. He kissed this woman and she claims, they did a whole lot and now he is in jail for 12 years. Wisconsin football player.
Yeah, there's been tons of football stories. Brian Banks had a movie,
right?
That was a recent, and I remember when that story happened. And I think what's happened, and it's a byproduct. Well, yeah, we tired, but I think another byproduct, because I'm always someone who tries to look at the entire scope and scale of everything. There are millions of men and women who have been sexually assaulted or abused, and their stories were either silenced or they never received any justice. And that is a travesty. What is also a travesty is trying to punish someone or make someone feel the way that you feel about something because of the emotion that you have tied to it. There's a wrath and a vengeance that, regardless of what, if you follow some main religion, it's about you not being the one in charge of taking your justice.
Right.
It's about having it happen, and for those who have had that happen to them, like when I say I feel you, I feel you. I've literally been in your shoes, and it's nothing that can give you that peace. But that's not everybody.
Right.
And to treat everyone as if that's the story, that is the problem. Like, justice needs to happen, but what justice is there in vilifying the man who has done more for women than the women who are talking about him?
And the one of the other angles that you see as far as the community coming out and responding is there's been rumblings that we have, gatekeepers in mainstream media.
Oh yeah,
that work, solely on behalf of their bosses to represent when they need to represent, but also keep fires, very low. And folks are tired of being told, things are just the way they are by gatekeepers, when the gatekeepers are only as powerful as their audience, us, makes them. So you're witnessing the community realize power being exclusive, when a lot of times we are so inclusive. Like, hey, come on into the house, have a good time to cook out. We cook it in the back. Da, 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 da. Now, people realize how it feels to get kicked out the cookout.
Yeah, that's it.
And when they see that, the response is like, oh my God, you kicked us out the cookout. You kicked yourself out the cookout. Exactly. And that's the way that it is. We, as a community, let things slide for a long time. Yep. So when we finally do bite,
it's a ferocious bite.
Yeah, it's like, and so that this is the line that we're not going to cross. Yeah. And actually, we're not going to cross any more lines up to this point anymore.
No, I mean, that's it, and that's part of it. With it being the beginning of a new decade, there's a huge shift in the transition that is happening, and I think Black men being vocal on things that matter to us and our well-being, and that's the change that's going to shock a lot of people. And you're really going to see who's about all Black, because people are like, okay, well, if you ain't for all Black folks, you ain't for Black folks. Okay, we're gonna find out real quick how that works when it comes to helping out straight Black men.
Yeah,
we're gonna see how that goes. And the thing is, we need to understand that there is no fight. There is no white people of the minorities.
Mhm.
We're all minorities. And regardless of what you thinking that I may have it better than you, I've never seen somebody getting shot by police as a bonus. That you realize that's the number one cause of death for black men in America? Not cancer, not high cholesterol, being shot and killed by police.
No, I did not know that.
I learned the statistic last year, and it was frightening. There was, I found an article and I'll send it to you, but it was Newsweek or one of those, and like every day you go on social media, you see something about men cheating and how men are horrible or men are trash and we're inferior, and it's a lot of trash ass individuals. Don't get me don't confuse what I'm saying, but we ain't the only ones.
Well, I think the most important thing is that we understand each other's strengths, and so a lot of times what I try to explain to some of the black women that I come into contact with is that your power is immense, and people want to emulate your style. People want to listen to you and absorb what you have to say and the way that you say it.
Yep.
But what that does is that allows you to be in the room and not seem as much a threat as me. So when you're in that room, whether it be a room full of black women or a room of other kinds of people, it's very important that, and for men too, when it comes to representing women, that we don't talk down on us in front of company.
Absolutely.
That's basically what it is. Not only do you not talk down, but you talk up so you can balance out what they want to do, which is bring down.
And I think one of the issues with that is a lot of women feel as if men aren't doing that enough for them, but men feel the same way. But instead of everybody sitting and waiting for the other one to do it, it's like what we are essentially doing is the same thing as when you have somebody, I ain't gonna call them until they call me. We're doing that with each other while we're both hurting, wanting the other one to help us heal.
I think what we have is quite a bit of incremental change towards the upside.
Mm-hmm.
However, and this is why black media is so important. The media that is able to put out negative sides of our culture, they don't have a problem with it, and they get paid to do it. In order to be able to put out positive content all the time, it doesn't necessarily bring in dollars, clicks, views as much as everything else does. So we're basically, we're fighting the good fight, and it's just going to be a little bit slower. However, when we lose important people such as a Kobe or a Nipsey, it helps us to refocus and to unionize and to realize that you're not my enemy. We have differences.
Exactly.
I don't like certain things about the way that you may think or do things, but what is your ultimate goal? Empowerment? Oh, word. Let's go.
And see, I think we had reached a point in society where over the past few years, we have become so individualized and so egocentric that tragedy shook a lot of people out of that nonsense. And when people there was a collective of people who felt as if they were working towards a spot to heal, and Gail doing what she did put a fracture in that. And there are people who sympathize with Gail who don't see the impact of what she was doing and the timing. Like, if this had been R. Kelly had died in the plane crash, nobody would have questioned Gail, especially since she just interviewed. But she ain't had nothing to say to Kobe for a decade and a half. And everything that he did was showing that he had been better than the mistake that he had made. The first girlfriend I ever had when I was 15 years old got pregnant by my best friend that introduced me. My daughter's mother often, before she died, would have moments where she had a razor blade to my neck, talking trash to me while she thought I was asleep. Those are my two first romantic experiences. Imagine if I allowed that to be the the cast or the ideal that I have for all black women.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what black men are saying to black women. We are not the culmination of your past hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore we should not have that taken out on us.
And these are conversations that can be had constantly. They can be had
They need to be
right away,
period.
you know. But I think prior to having to have the conversation, if it's already had, it creates a standard. So you can say, hey, in the beginning, I'll let you know that I have this past, you have this past, but if you use that to energize yourself towards me, we together will identify that. And if you continue to do it, I can't continue. You know what I'm saying? So very important conversations that are happening in the community and need to continue to happen in the community so we can understand that the upside is coming and that is the standard, that black men definitely are infatuated with black women and vice versa, regardless of what your timeline tells you.
And that is where we're going to end this conversation at right here. I want to thank you so much for coming through.
Appreciate the invite.
Appreciate the conversation. Hopefully, we're not going to say everything that everybody likes, but that's the whole part about it. Everybody's not going to agree with everyone 100%, but if we have conversations and we can build and get to a better place, that's what's necessary with family. Family don't always agree. Y'all know because you got your own. But the bottom line is we are family and we take care of our own. So let's take care of each other better. Let's listen to each other. Let's not try to attack each other just because somebody has a belief that's different than theirs. That ain't how we built. That ain't what we're supposed to do. So let's do better. Until next time. Thank you again, brothers.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
All right.